Hello everybody, my name is Rodolfo and I'm studying to get my next license in the boiler industry, and tonight I have some questions with my best answer. So now it's time to find out how much do you know. So let's start with where in a plant would you find a steam separator? Name 3 ways that heat is transferred. What will you do if a boiler rupture? What would you do if a tube rupture in a water tube boiler happened? What can occur if your boiler water is contaminated with fuel oil? Name 3 methods used to seal shaft penetration in steam turbines. How often should boilers be inspected in Massachusetts? Describe a hydrostatic test in detail. At what pressure and how often should air tanks be inspected? How is boiler horsepower determined in Massachusetts? What can you do with a second-class engineer license? And which air conditioning units require inspection? So, where in a plant would you find a steam separator? Steam separators are found in the steam water drum of water tube boilers. Steam separator can be also found before any process where saturated steam is used. That means before a turbine, you could find a steam separator. Name 3 ways that heat is transferred. Easy, yeah? Radiation, convection, and conduction are the 3 ways that heat can be transferred. What would you do if a tube rupture in a water tube boiler? Secure the fire and continue to feed water to the boiler, unless this robs water from operating boilers. Remove pressure from the boiler and isolate boiler for inspection and repair. If the tube ruptured, you're gonna see things going down quickly, unfortunately. So the best thing is secure the fire and keep filling the water. But if this is gonna compromise the other boilers, secure the fire and start to reducing pressure. What can occur if your boiler water is contaminated with fuel oil? So foaming can occur in the boiler that becomes contaminated with fuel oil. Start to blow down the boiler. Surface blow, until all these contaminants is removed. Name 3 methods used to seal shaft penetration in the steam turbines. So the first method, carbon rings with garter springs. water seals, and labyrinth packing with or without sealing steam are the methods used to seal turbines. How often should boilers be inspected in Massachusetts? All boilers operating over 15 psi, unless otherwise exempted, shall be inspected internally and externally every year. Describe hydrostatic test in detail. So when you're going to perform a hydrostatic test, you're going to gag your safety valves or remove them and put a cap. Okay? You also need to valve off the gauge glass. Okay? You're going to start to fill your boiler with clean treated water between 70 and 120 degrees Fahrenheit until water comes out the vent. Cold water will sweat the tubes, giving you a fake feeling of leaking, okay? And too hot water could sweat the pipes too, but could flash into steam when the pressure is applied. So warm water, okay? Close the vents and start to increase the boiler pressure with a close control of the pump, okay? Go slow. Bring the boiler pressure to 1.5 times the maximum allowed in working pressure. Hold this pressure as long as directed by the authorized inspector. After he's okay, you can reduce the pressure to the maximum allowed working pressure for a close visual inspection of the boiler. Upon completion, remove pressure and restore the water level to the normal operating water level. If you removed your safety valve, now it's time to reinstall. If you put gag on the safety valve, now is the time to remove the gags, okay? To find the normal water level, you have to restore your gauge glass. And then you're ready to fire up the boiler. If the authorized inspector give you the okay. At what pressure and how often should air tanks be inspected? Compressed air tanks, unless otherwise exempted, over 50 psi, shall be inspected every 2 years. How is boiler horsepower determined in Massachusetts? Manufacturer's tag, 1. Steam output divided by 34.5 pounds per hour, 2. 2. BTUs per hour input divided by 41A40 is 3. And the fourth is BTU per hour output divided by 33475. What can you do with a second-class engineer license? To have a charge of and operate any boiler or boilers, and to have a charge of and operate engines. No one of each shall exceed 150 horsepower, or to operate a first-class plant under the engineer in direct charge thereof. And the last question for tonight is, which air conditioning units require inspection? Refrigeration equipments, unless otherwise exempted, over 20 tons shall be inspected every year. Okay, over 20 tons. I hope you guys like the video and share. And you have any questions, or if you want to share your questions, send an email to me. Thank you very much. Until the next class. Thank you.